Well, we complained about not having any actual content for the 7th anniversary, and it seems as though the FGO staff has listened, not only giving us the first batch of Advanced Quest 7, but it also looks like we're going to be getting a second batch later on during the anniversary. Which I also think is really nice. You know, that's perfectly fine with me. Just layer these all on us right now because, one, it's more Saint Quartz because we will be getting missions that give us more Saint Quartz depending on how many advanced quests you already have completed. So the more of those we start stockpiling now, the more that when they give us those quests, we'll be able to get back in a little bit of a return. But two, it also does lead me to believe that we might be trying to shorten that gap between the NA and JP side of things if they're going to start giving us more of these advanced quests earlier on. Thankfully, you know, maybe that will get us maybe only a year behind because, again, don't want to beat the point to death, but I would really like to see us only being a year behind so that I could see a really cool servant come out and not have to wait 2 years and only be like, okay, so next Christmas we're getting that. It just feels a lot better to say. But we're going to go over some of the strategies, and in the background of the video right now, I do have some of my clears going on in the background that you can kind of see what the mechanics are for these fights, and I'll just give you some of my own advice, having done this not only on the JP side of things, but also on the NA side of things as well. So if you find this video to be helpful at all, make sure you drop a like in the video. It would greatly help me out more than you know. And if by the end of the video you are entertained or feel more well-informed, you could also hit that subscribe button if you find my advice to be helpful. Also, I just want to add that I should be going live at about 10:30, you know, whatever the time is for the Anime Expo live stream that they should be doing. I haven't found a link as of me recording this video, but it might just be going up whenever the Expo panel thing goes live. So hopefully I should be live streaming that over on my Twitch, which is going to be linked down in the description down below. If I don't go live, then I either could not find a link or there was no link for me to just look at on the panel, but I highly doubt there's going to be no panel. I mean, that'd be absolutely bonkers if they just said, yeah, you know what, this year, no live stream. But with that being said, let's start diving into the first advanced quest we're going to be getting, or I guess that we already have over on the NA side of things. So the first fight is going to be against Scathach, and this one is not too difficult. I do recommend that for all three of these fights, you bring your better sustainability servants. You're going to notice that's going to be a through line that I recommend for these, because they're not just these quick ones you can run in there and just absolutely booty blast them into oblivion and then be about your day. You're going to be in for a solid like 10 to 12 minute fight. As for the Scathach one over here, it revolves around the mechanic that she is going to call out a card type every turn, and you need to attack her with said card type. Now, it's not like, oh, if you don't attack her with a card type, you're not going to be able to perform actions or anything that crazy. It's if you attack her with said card type, you start to stack NP damage, which is going to be very important because she might not look super beefy. She doesn't have a whole lot of HP, but she does have 99% damage resistance and 3 guts. So you're going to be there for a while, but whenever her NP gauge hits maximum, you know, it's all red, she's going to get a massive demerit against NPs specifically, and so stacking all of that NP damage is very useful. That's why you'll also see in the background that even sometimes if it's like, oh, she's calling for quick cards or whatever, and I might have, say, a Merlin or a Castoria quick card, I don't really prioritize those because they don't need NP damage, right? They have support NP. So realistically, you're going to want to use it for your DPS servants, but because you're going to be there for a while, you know, she's only going to get to her NP every like 3 or 4 turns because she has that 3-tick NP. You'd have to wait every time for her to get over there for her to be vulnerable, then smack her with an NP and hope you're able to one-shot it. Now, again, for me, I'm using an NP3 Sanzo, so getting the one-shot was really not that big of a deal. But if you do have a weaker box, you know, don't freak out. As long as you can sustain your way through the fight, even a weaker DPS that you might have in your box will be able to get you through the fight. Even if you don't have somebody like Merlin, you do still have people like Asclepius or Hans that are still very good for this fight. Especially because even though they might have lower stats than, say, someone like Merlin or Castoria, they can't take as many hits. Scathach is still an assassin in this boss fight because it's the summer version of her. And so they'll be able to take resisted damage against that Scathach, and they should still make it through the fight. Although one thing you're really going to want to have is someone to deal with Scathach's NP, because even though that's when you're going to attack her, she's still going to try to blast you with the NP. You know, she's still going to try to take you out. And so even if you don't have someone like, say, Merlin or Castoria, maybe even a Scotty who has the dodge on her own NP, you don't have one of the mainline guys to support your party, you can even try to bring someone like, say, a Tristan, right? I know he's not like the greatest for this fight, but someone that does have, say, a Harp of Healing style skill that provides some type of survivability to the entire party. Because again, you can sustain your way through the fight all you want, but you do have to have a way to deal with those NPs. But as long as you have some way to make sure that your guys aren't just like losing HP continually, and I guess if you really are desperate, you don't really have somebody that can sustain your way through the fight, you could just bring multiple DPSs that you think can kind of stall through certain portions of the fight. Like you don't have, say, Merlin, Castoria, Oberon. Well, I mean, you wouldn't bring Oberon, but you get what I'm saying. You wouldn't, these main guys, right? You could try, say, a string of DPSs to get your way through there. Say, like maybe at the very beginning, you're going to try to push through with Herc, and then maybe after that fails, you have like a Lancer coup or something in the back in the past. I don't think that's going to work out super well, but I could also see it getting done because she does admittedly give you a lot of NP damage buffs. And again, someone like a Herc or a Coup Ultra could definitely probably get their way through this, especially seeing as you would be able to pick whatever card type you want when going into the fight. And Scathach doesn't have, say, the craziest kit that's going to catch you off guard. The only thing that you would need to be worried about, and I didn't see her really use this at all when I fought her, but her third skill is a Pierce invincibility skill, which I was always worried about that when I cast Hero Creation or something, that she was going to try to use that skill to pierce all my guys and whatnot, but she didn't seem to use it all that often, so I'm not sure if it's something that she just has a low priority of casting or she just won't use it at all, but do just keep that in mind. I didn't notice her ever using it, but that doesn't mean that she will not use it. So just kind of keep that in the back of your head that she can pierce invul if she does cast a third skill. But realistically, this one is not all that bad. It's just one of those fights that once you get into a nice groove of, you'll probably be able to beat it with no huss, no fuss. Now, the second fight is going to be against Liz, and while you might look at this one and say, dude, Liz has 20 guts, this is going to take me forever to get through, or you're just going to try to brute force your way through it because you think it's going to take a long time, it's actually not all that difficult. Again, as long as you have someone that can kind of just keep your main archer around and alive, you can just focus on smacking Liz. Now, technically, you don't have to really concern yourselves with the chickens. They're just there to kind of speed things along, because the silver chickens do 500 damage when they're defeated to Liz and to your party, and the gold ones do 5,000 to both. So continually taking them out can do a lot of damage to Liz and really make it just quite trivial in being able to trigger all of her guts. Because again, she's got 20 of them, but it's not like she's got supreme defense going alongside it. I mean, it's just Liz. She's got like 205,000 HP and she revives with 30k HP. It's not like she's all that tough. So you can kind of just brute force your way through it as long as you do just have someone to keep your Emiya around. I mean, sure, like the other fight, you could try to bring someone to manage the NP. I think Waver's a little bit better for this one because you don't really want to, say, take a Scathach that's at like 1 or 2 ticks and lower it because you want her to hit 3 ticks. You want to get those opportunities to do big damage to her, but especially for this one, I think he's just even better. I mean, it's just Waver noodle soup. He's doing all the good stuff that he's normally doing, making your DPS really tanky, giving him that extra damage, that NP, and then kind of just managing the enemy party. The AoE stun that he has, even if he doesn't stun everyone, could be really nice because when there are 5 Berserker chickens just running around the field, that chip damage on top of the burn they do will add up. Especially because it's not like, oh, you clear the wave and then all the chickens are gone, because they get immediately replaced. It's one of those style of fights. So having someone that can give you the damage cut and the defense, as well as being able to stun everybody, and you probably already picked him as your guaranteed 5-star when you finish Fuyuki, he's not a bad option to bring. And then if you have, say, an Asclepius or a Medea Lily, just anybody else, a Hans that can give you that extra HP back so you have some sustainability, you'll probably be absolutely golden going through this one. I mean, I brought Emiya. He's not my best AoE archer, but I thought, hey man, like nobody ever really gets to use Emiya despite how good he is, and he can do some pretty solid crits. His refund's not too bad when he could swap over to being an arts unit, especially because we have 6 enemies on the field. And so I just found this to be a really smooth one to get through. It did take me a decent chunk of time. I think the Scathach one was only about 12 minutes or something along those lines, but then this one, I think clocked out at 8, which, I mean, is still a decent bit, but like, just to kind of put it in perspective, the Scathach is the more, you know, methodical, you get into a nice cycle and get in there. The Liz one is the one that you can kind of try to burst down if you just want to kind of run in there, and I'm sure my clear time would have been faster as well if there were just some moments where I didn't just stop to ponder and be like, is this the correct play to make? Do I need to maybe do something else? If you just want to run in there and just bum rush her, it's probably possible, but you will lose some servants. Again, you're losing 5k to the golden chickens, but if you want to take more of that approach of trying to just take out multiple lives a turn, remember, doing something like a crit, taking out a life into an NP to take out another life, and then swapping back to another face card, that can net you 3 lives in one turn. You could really start beating down on her that way, especially with the chickens, you know, making her HP so low. So this one, don't worry about it too much, just run in there, beat her up, and you'll be absolutely fine. The last one here is a little bit annoying because this is the RNG one, because the fight is relatively simple. It's just you versus 2 gazers, but for one, they really like to charm and stun you, right? They use the mystic guy stuff to, you know, lock all your guys down, and it can get really annoying. And the other thing is that it's very weather dependent. Now you might be saying, what, like it's raining outside, or is it particular if it's snowing where I'm at, I'm going to be affected? Not really, but it's in game, because every turn there's a chance that the weather might go from being clear skies to rainy weather, right? If it's clear skies, you're able to remove these massive damage resistance buffs that the gazers have on them, 2 with an NP and 1 with a normal attack. So again, if you have a servant that's able to fire out consistent NPs like Melusine, or you want to use her as an AoE and then just really start removing those buffs on the both of them, which is implied to be like one of the better things that you want to do, because if you beat one of them early, the other one spurgs out, but we'll talk about that in just a second. That's kind of like the optimal way to go about it. But then if it swaps to rainy weather, they regain those. They regain one of those special damage stacks on their normal attacks, and if they NP while the rain is up, they get 2 of them back. And the only thing that can be really annoying is whether or not it's going to change from being clear or rainy. That was the only thing that I had a problem with, because you can't really control, oh, well, I was making really good progress, I might have been able to clear this flight out, but then it's rainy weather and I gotta spend another turn removing all of their stacks. Up, it stayed rainy weather again. I guess that's now like 2 more turns I gotta invest in it. It's a little bit annoying, but it's not like it's impossible to manage. Even when they kind of go berserk, you know, they start flipping out because you took out the other one before you took them out. It's just like, oh, they fire their NP every single turn, and they'll try to like double charm you every single turn, but then the chance of the charm / mystic guy's stun thing working goes down every single turn as well. And then there's odd interactions where if they're berserking out, but then it changes to rainy weather, they'll be like, oh, something got in my eyes, and then they'll be stunned, you know? So that's actually where we won the fight ourselves, and the gameplay is going on in the background for this one. So it's just a little bit annoying, but like you'll see people say like, oh, you gotta take them out together. You don't have to take them out together. They're kind of just some pushovers, but it is rather annoying that you have to rely on RNG. And again, I was mainly going in with Melusine because my thought process was, oh, she could spam her NP a lot with a single target, then boom, I could swap to AoE, take them both out. But then I just wanted to see how difficult it was and see if I could still first try it while making them go berserk. And yeah, we were still able to first try not only this one, but all 3 of them. Just running in there being like, do I remember how to do these? I'll just figure it out. You know, I'm not so bad to lose to these advanced quests, and I was able to take them all out. So if I can do it and I'm a big dummy, then you can definitely take these guys out. You know, just kind of tailor your team accordingly. You know, you don't have Merlin, throw in like an Asclepius. You know, you don't have an Artoria, or I guess a Castoria, I don't want to confuse people. Bring the next best thing you've got. Bring a Waver. Bring your own Merlin. You know, bring a Proto Merlin if you pull her during the summer festivities that are probably going to start in like a week or so from now. You know, just fill in the gaps with people that you don't have. You know, if you need a healer, I mean, Tamamo can still work out fairly nice with her 3rd skill and the NP being able to heal. You know, just bring whatever you've got. And these are not so hard that I think, oh, you're just being completely price kept out of being able to do these. If you don't have these NP3, you know, 5-star servants, you can't get through it. No, it's easy enough to do. I mean, at the end of the day, it's still FGO. It's not like it's rocket science or anything. You know exactly what they're going to be able to do. I'm showing you exactly how it interacts with us when we go in there and we use our party and whatnot. Just sub out the guys for whatever you have. So with that being said, if you found this guide to be helpful, I would appreciate, again, a like on the video, a subscribe to the channel, and potentially maybe even you come out with us to hang out during the stream, as long as there is a stream and there's a link I'm able to find. Otherwise, I don't know, I'm probably going to go back to playing Elden Ring or something along those lines. But with all that being said, I'm going to catch you guys in the next one. Peace, late guys.